here for our second episode of AD and DT with the Director of Athletics, also known as Athletics Director. It goes back and forth depending on who you talk to here. So AD and DT with myself, Dan Tortora, and Bob Beretta. Thankful to have you here inside of our very special Multimedia Marketing Partnership and these conversations that air monthly between Bob and I with different topics each time. And whenever it comes to anything going on at LeMoyne, be it Bob's story or another story that we're going to be telling about this college, about its expansion, its growth, its progression, be sure to have it on AD and DT, as Bob will be sitting in with us to give us awesome information coming up in our future. And obviously a lot of positive values and a positive move in our community. So as always, Bob, I welcome you back to the show.
Well, thank you, Dan. It's my pleasure to be here. Thanks for being here with us.
Absolutely. First and foremost, the question of being here. After what we talked about in the last broadcast, which led perfectly into this one, it's why LeMoyne? When you go through all of the time you've been in sports information, all the time that you spent, from St. Bonaventure to West Point for Army, why come to LeMoyne? Why LeMoyne?
It was a question that was asked quite a bit during the interview process, and I think that people thought it was a little bit of a strange match on the surface. Someone who had been at one place for 34 years at a place like West Point and didn't see the connectivity, and I differed greatly. I went to St. Bonaventure, so I went to a faith-based institution, small campus setting just like LeMoyne, very similar. And when I learned of the LeMoyne opportunity, I began doing some diligent research, and ironically, so many people that I'd been dealing with in my career at West Point were LeMoyne graduates or had ties to LeMoyne that I hadn't any knowledge of prior to the research. So it drove me to take a ride up to LeMoyne one day before I officially applied for the position, and I said, I just want to see if there might be a fit. I want to walk on that campus. I want to see if I feel like it would be a great fit. And I came up and I thought I would drive around for about 20 minutes.
You drive from West Point?
I did. I drove from West Point. I thought it would be a 6-hour drive, spend a half hour on the ground, dedicated day to that. Well, I came up, stepped foot on campus, and honestly, I fell in love with the campus setting immediately. I wanted to get back to a campus where I could potentially develop granular relationships with student athletes again. It harkened back to my days at St. Bonaventure. I loved the campus. I stayed all day. I walked around, I talked to student athletes, I talked to students, I talked to faculty members, staff members, and just wandered around. And it cemented my desire to be part of the search process. I applied for the job. I interviewed in March of 2020, and then the pandemic struck and things got put on hold until November.
Yeah.
And I came up and interviewed in November and went through the process. But I found many commonalities between West Point and LeMoyne. And when I talked about this initially, people raised their eyebrows. But as I get into the detail, they can see the connection. West Point is about service. The military is about service.
Yeah.
Service is a huge component here in the Jesuit faith and at LeMoyne. We talk about, at West Point, they talked about always developing the entire person, the whole cadet, militarily, educationally, physically, all those elements. Well, it's no different here at LeMoyne. We try to aspire to develop the whole person, the whole individual, spiritually and educationally, and here also on the athletic field. So I drew great parallels to LeMoyne and West Point. I wanted to stay in New York if I could. I've had opportunities to go elsewhere over my years of my career. But it comes down to fit. I really felt comfortable on this campus. I love the student athletes that I had a chance to meet during the process. I love their passion. I felt like I could help in some small way, elevate. That's one of our themes this year, is to elevate and elevate everything that we do as administrators as we try to elevate the profile of this campus and of our athletic department. And I just felt like there was a good fit. I felt like I could come and make a difference, and that was what was most important to me, to find a place where I would be with like-minded people and where I could make a difference.
What is it about this campus that when you got here and you stepped foot on it, you said it just felt right and you fell in love with it? Why?
It's hard to put into words, Dan, but there was this feeling of warmth. I had a warm feeling like I was home. Like, it's strange. as I mentioned, I went to St. Bonaventure, and I think that there's a great deal of similarities between the two settings. They're different, obviously, in structure, but I felt like there were great similarities. And I just felt home. I just felt comfortable. As I interacted with people, everyone felt genuine, everyone felt authentic, everyone felt mission-oriented, and it felt like you'd be part of this great team, and that's really what the Army is and what West Point is. So to me, I just felt like I was home, and it was a very easy decision to make.
You said you got to meet some student athletes when you came here, and that those connections meant something to you as well. Who did you get to meet?
So I got to meet Ellie Summers is one. Ellie now is the chair, and she was last year as well, of the SAC, of the Student Athlete Advisory Council. I got to meet her. I got to meet Adriana Nojane, who is one of our top women's lacrosse players. They were both involved in the search process. I got to meet several athletes that have since graduated that were part of the process. And then as I just wandered the campus, I didn't gain names. I just kind of talked to different students, and I obviously knew that some were student athletes based on their attire, based on an athletic type gear that they were wearing. But it got reinforced during that process, and one of the reasons why I asked to start in May as opposed to in June, when we had talked about it initially, was I wanted to come here while the students were still on campus in May, where I could begin making those relationships. And I probably talked to 24 student athletes in May before they left for the summer, and those meetings were invaluable. They helped shape a lot of the direction of what I wanted to attack and what I wanted our staff to attack. We took that feedback, and as we try to improve the overall student athlete experience, taking that feedback into account and trying to build a program of which they could be proud.
I like that you mentioned Adriana Nojane, because I got to meet her in high school and actually did a show with her. So it's just funny how the world gets increasingly smaller.
It does.
Especially in the sports world. And so you coming here and just feeling like it's a good fit, and then meeting these student athletes and seeing a connection there, what value do you see in LeMoyne when you step foot on here and you decide, okay, this is a job that I want? Before you got this job, you had to see the value, because anything we do in life is an investment of time, investment of energy, investment of resources. So why invest in LeMoyne?
I think simply, I don't look at it why I'm investing in LeMoyne. I think LeMoyne's investing in me, to be honest with you. I think LeMoyne can make me a better person, can make me a better leader, a better administrator. And do I think there are talents and things that I can help bring to advance our program and our institution? Yes, there are. I've been blessed with an unbelievable amount of life experiences while at West Point. I've been a part of fantastic events, from the Army-Navy football game to Army-New York Yankee baseball exhibition games at West Point, on and on and on. I could go on forever. And I think those experiences provided me with a value set and an experience resume that I can come here and maybe in some small manner bring some of those things to LeMoyne, whether it's how we structure our department, whether it's the plans and processes that we're going to put in place that lead our department. It's added that structure, it's some oversight instances that we've implemented here. So I think it's a symbiotic relationship. I think I'm going to invest in LeMoyne, and I have passionately, with all my heart, and I think LeMoyne has made a great commitment to invest in me. And so I feel like it's a perfect fit from that standpoint. I think relationships, they work that way, right, where they should benefit each partner. So I think I can help LeMoyne, and I know that LeMoyne will help me, and already has helped me.
How has LeMoyne helped you already?
I think being around people that have high character, that have a high value set, the same type of people that I dealt with and had the pleasure of working with at West Point, I'm dealing with the same type of people here. Our President Lemura, is just incredible. She's an incredible individual. And as I got to know President Lemura a little bit during the interview process, I knew that I wanted the opportunity to work for her if I could, because I believe in her value set. I keep saying the same thing, but it's true. If you believe in mission, and you believe in guiding principles, then you want to align yourself with people of like-mindedness. And I knew that there was similarity. I knew that I could absolutely align strongly behind the mission of this institution, that we would build an athletic program that aligned completely behind the mission of LeMoyne College first. So that was really the first step in for me deciding where to go. I wanted to align a place where my values, I wasn't going to change my value set at all. At this stage of my life, I did not want to do that. So I found a place in LeMoyne where we could get behind the mission and the principles and the academic mission of the institution, and put that first. At West Point, we knew we were there for a higher mission. We were there to develop leaders, second lieutenants that were going to go out and lead our nation's sons and daughters into battle. That was our primary mission. Athletics was going to be a vehicle to help enhance that development, and I believe the same here at LeMoyne. We're here and we can enhance the overall product of LeMoyne by instilling those great values in our student athletes.
Spending as much time as you did at Army West Point, how did you know it was time for the next chapter for you?
Interesting. I didn't know that it was the time, per se. I just felt like this was a wonderful opportunity. And the day that I stepped foot on campus, when I got into my car and was driving back to Orange County, I felt that I would regret not pursuing this chance to come here and lead this department. I felt like if I didn't pursue it, it was something I would regret for the rest of my life. So it was more of the opportunity of LeMoyne than it was time to leave West Point. I've been blessed with the opportunity to grow there for many, many years. I started out as an intern in the sports information office, into the athletic communications area, became the SID, spent several years as the number 2 person in that department, had handled tremendous things such as football, scheduling, all of our television contracts, our bowl agreements. Right up until the day I left, I was still scheduling football games all the way out to 2035. And people ask me, why would you leave that solution, that setting, have those tremendous opportunities? And I loved it. I loved my job. I loved till the day I left there. But I just felt like this was an opportunity to grow in a way that I couldn't grow at West Point. And I felt like it was a great fit. And I didn't look at any athletic director job and say, I just want to be an AD somewhere. That wasn't a driving factor for me. It was going to a place that I believed in, that I felt like would believe in me, and we could grow together.
That coming from Bob Beretta, the Director of Athletics here at LeMoyne College, and of course AD and DT here with you every single month as part of the Multimedia Marketing Partnership, proudly connecting Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, and LeMoyne College Athletics. Bob, final piece to this, why Fins Up? What does it mean?
I think it's everything. It's the fabric of this institution, but it's much more than a rallying cry. It's funny, we go to the Mass of the Holy Spirit, and the bishop and the provincial, they say, Fins Up. It's more than a fight, than a rallying cry for the athletic teams. I think it's a notion here at LeMoyne that we're seeking to be better, and we feel very optimistic and passionate about this institution that the best is yet to come. And so our trajectory is always going to be up. It's always going to be looking up. It's onward. It's upward and onward. It's all those things. So it's much more than a fight cry for our athletic teams. To me, it's who we are. It's the fabric of this institution, and it's meant. We have a very positive outlook. We have a positive outlook on life. We have a positive outlook on our mission, and we believe that the best is still before us. So fins up to everyone out there. We are really passionate about LeMoyne College and the Heights, and we're really passionate about the bright future ahead of us all.
And I like that. Fins Up, really connecting every Dolphin, past, present, and future, saying we're always going to elevate each other, and we're going to elevate together.
Absolutely. Well said, Dan.
So with that, Bob Beretta, myself, Dan Tortora, AD and DT, find all of this on the LeMoyne tab on WakeUpCallDT.com. You can also find us with stories like this on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT, as well as our weekly broadcast. Bob, as always, thank you.
My pleasure, Dan. Thanks so much for being part of this with us.
Absolutely.